When we reached this 25th anniversary of Bill C-23, the Modernization of Benefits, I thought, gee, I better go back. And I started rereading the speeches. I had forgotten how vitriolic, how full of hatred and absolute nonsense the opposition to the debate was.
Canadians know that marriage is good for kids. It works for families. Government policy should serve to strengthen it instead of undermining it like Bill C-23 does. Married couples still have to get divorced. I guess people in same-sex relationships, I don't know what they do. I guess they walk out the door and it's over. It's not clear from the bill. So because common law relationships are so prone to breakdown, they contribute disproportionately to the social ills, and everyone must live with them and subsidize them. And if we go ahead with C-23 as it stands today without amendments, it's the children that'll be hurt, and it's the children who aren't even born yet who will be hurt.
Canadians from coast to coast know what this bill will do to if the sacred institution of marriage has been preserved in history. It would be soundly and totally rejected.
Let me explain, and hopefully the government is listening and not just giving catcalls as they are now.
My name's Libby Davies. I was elected first in 1997 as a member of Parliament representing the federal riding of Vancouver East. What is a modernization of benefits? First of all, what a name. It was a piece of federal legislation. It was actually called Bill C-23, and it was to modernize, I think, over 60 other federal laws to establish that benefits to same-sex common law couples had to be equal to common law couples who were of the opposite sex. So this bill was really important in saying, yes, you are entitled to the same benefits in taxation, in pensions, in any other area of federal jurisdiction that a couple who were in a common law relationship who were of the opposite sex would legally have a right to. When we reached this 25th anniversary of Bill C-23, the Modernization of Benefits, I thought, gee, I better go back. I was a new member of Parliament representing my riding from East Vancouver. I forgot how vitriolic, how full of hatred and absolute nonsense the opposition to the debate was. It was all cloaked in that this bill of modernizing benefits and giving people their equal rights was going to destroy the nuclear family. At that point in 2000, I myself was not out. I was not yet in my own same-sex relationship. But I understood the importance of this bill because I'd always been a very strong ally of the queer community. And so I became a very strong proponent of supporting the bill.
And I have to say that I'm proud to be from a riding, Vancouver East, where I've had a lot of phone calls and emails and correspondence of gays and lesbians and straight people, constituents who have been in favor of Bill C-23.
Madam Speaker, as we've said time and time again, Bill C-23 is about fairness. It will extend equal treatment for benefits and obligations to same-sex couples on the same basis as common law.
It is a bill which is designed to correct unfairness which existed with respect to the gay community, gays and lesbians who suffered discrimination.
Who am I to say? Since you can't procreate, you cannot be recognized in terms of taxation or benefits of any kind. Who am I to say that? Quite honestly, who am I to say that?
I want to urge all members of this House to rise above intolerance and homophobia, to reject the campaign of fear-mongering, to recognize that our relationships as gay and lesbian people are just as loving and just as committed, that we should have that choice. To deny us that choice is not only deeply offensive and demeaning, but I believe is unconstitutional as well.
That this bill, the intent of this bill and why it was introduced was to live up to the Charter of Rights, was to live up to the name and the spirit and the implementation of equality in this country for gays and lesbians. Not a debate about marriage, not an exclusion of people, not a definition that says you're legal but you're not. This debate should be about equality.
But I really want to say that I think a lot of the changes that have come about over the years, and it's been an involvement, was because people in the community fought to have their rights recognized. The Parliament of Canada was compelled to bring forward legislation, the Bill C-23, because a very famous case of a same-sex couple who lived in a common law relationship went through the legal system, and the court ruled that the couple had been discriminated against. So you have to kind of look at this bill in the context of a long evolving journey or struggle, because it certainly has been a struggle, to realize full rights for all people, regardless who they are or what their situation is. Pretty straightforward. Sounds logical. Sounds like, well, why wouldn't anybody do that? Well, what you run up against, of course, are all kinds of prejudices, decades of discrimination, of people's attitudes. So when you look back at this year of 2000, I mean, now I think we sort of take it for, we think, well, what was the big deal? But back then, we were a society that had so many prejudices, and even where there was acceptance, it wasn't legally mandated. And so for those reasons and other reasons, it was very important that this bill came forward at that time. And it was part of a much bigger campaign of gay liberation, of realizing people's potential and the rights that they have under the Canadian Charter. 25 years later, we can know that we won, that all of the work and hardship, and in some cases real suffering that people went through to attain those rights through the law were really worth it, because we're now living the benefits today because of the really hard work that happened 25 years ago. So it should be something that we feel very celebratory about, that we feel very proud of, because this change would not have happened if it hadn't have been for the work of organizations and individuals who took this issue on and said, we're not going to stand for discrimination. We have a right to equal access under the law to benefits. And they took that on and they won. We all won. We all have a right to be who we are, to love who we want to love, to express ourselves in terms of who we are. Human rights are human rights. They are indivisible. So it's important that we stand together. When I look back, I remember it as a very important development for me personally in understanding the importance of legislation to bring about equality. We live in a very challenging world these days. You know, a lot of people feel very despondent, they feel pretty hopeless. Well, I think something like this bill, it shows us that when people work together, we do count. We can speak out, we can change things. To look back 25 years, it's really affirming to see the changes that have taken place and to see this bill, the impact it had was groundbreaking. The impact it had as a legacy was really important to people in same-sex relationships. So it just shows us that when we take on that work, it can have a lasting impact and other things can come from it. In this particular place, the next big thing was same-sex marriage, and that's another story about how that happened, and it was an even bigger debate. But I don't think it would have happened if we hadn't had Bill C-23, the Modernization of benefits.